Hello, and thanks for watching BSGcast. He's Matt, I'm Nat, and let's get started.
Alright, so, episode 317. This was an interesting one. You know what?
It was a meh episode for me.
Interesting is the word you use when you can't think of a better compliment.
Yeah.
So yeah, an interesting episode. It kind of felt like Exodus Part 1.
Yeah, it had kind of an abrupt kind of ending, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Because this is a 3-part season finale, essentially, this episode really didn't do much.
It was, I guess, a build-up episode, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it...
Didn't really feel like a rocket here.
No, this is the countdown. I'm hoping this is the countdown. I mean, some interesting stuff happened. I mean, has Six been wearing this dress for 3 months?
Okay, that's actually hilarious.
Yeah, like, didn't Athena say she was going to get some clothes?
She was going to bring an outfit?
Yeah, well, what, do they all shop at the same spot? She's got, like, what,
I'm sure they just haven't thought about it, really. It's, like, the least of their worries.
I mean, chances are it's the only way to tell one Six from another at this point, but still, it's kind of weird.
I guess it's your, like, continuity kind of issue.
Yeah, and another one of those, is it my imagination, or did Lee get, like, super drunk by looking at scotch? Like, he poured a scotch with, he poured a scotch when he was sitting there with Lampkin, and then Lampkin, like, downed it, and he was fine. Well, he was Irish, but he downed it and he was fine, and then Lee was just like, well, my grandfather, blah, blah, blah.
What?
Like,
okay, you know what, he's in a vulnerable emotional state right now.
So he gets drunk by looking at scotch?
Don't you ever get that? I mean, okay, not being in vulnerable emotional state, but you know, when you're just wanting to be drunk and then you get drunk so much faster than you would normally.
No comment.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this was not a great episode, but I feel like it's needed for the next 2 to be great episodes.
Yeah.
This episode was housekeeping.
It was informative.
And it was setup.
Yeah.
So, on to the housekeeping.
Okay, so we see that Starbucks photo is up. Apollo actually followed through and stuck it up there.
Personally, not my favorite picture of Starbuck.
What was wrong with it?
I don't know. Starbuck has 2 smiles. She has the cute, adorable smile and the kind of not-so-adorable smile. And that's her not-so-adorable smile.
No, it's her, like, you know, cute, goofy grin. There's the beautiful grin and the goofy grin.
All right. Anyway, it was good to see Anders and Lee supporting each other. This could be a situation where they all of a sudden place blame on each other, and it could go bad. There were a few times
I really thought Ander was just going to smack Apollo.
Yeah, I mean...
I thought there was going to be some sort of conflict.
Starbuck wouldn't have gone out that last time if he didn't say, I'll be your wingman, Starbuck, and then she flew into... I know, it's all his fault.
Yeah, guys, we're going to be ripping on Apollo.
Yeah, this is... Sorry, Apollo. Or sorry, Jamie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just not... Although... Apollo and Adama being at each other's throats over the loss of Starbuck was very interesting.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Do you think your loss is greater? Do you think yours is deeper? And of course, Apollo has obviously not mentioned his dad.
I guess almost just doesn't know really the depth of relationship that Apollo had.
Adama doesn't know that they had that night together. So that explains why he doesn't know that.
And we're gonna break up with their significant others for each other.
So on to what this episode is about, the setup. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and say we called it.
Yep.
Lee will be defending Baltar. Or
helping out at least, helping the lawyer that's
at least
defending
helping,
Baltar.
which is going to make this very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, Lee's at the point right now where he's having a hard time choosing whether to follow in the footsteps of his father or of his grandfather.
The boy's just lost. He's a lost boy. I never really got that impression as much until this episode. I feel like he's lost with, you know, what he wants to do in life. He's lost with the women that he chooses. He's just... I feel like he doesn't really know who he is or what he wants.
I feel like he's gotten younger with age. Like, he seemed more mature when he showed up on the Galactica in the miniseries than he is right now.
I mean, given he's been through a lot, and given, you know, the love of his life, or one of them at least, just died. But...
He's just, he's a lost boy
I guess that's a reason why he'd be questioning everything in his life right now.
I guess.
And he wants some major change.
But why doesn't he just make a decision of his own, instead of trying to pick which one of his... whether his father or his grandfather is the route to go? I think it's a little weird. It's a little weird. But his father is going to be on the judge's tribunal, which is very cool.
Selection.
And I love the way Ty put it. You now own exactly 1/5 of Baltar's skinny ass. Only Michael Hogan can deliver stuff like that.
He has great one-liners. We love you, Ty, as usual.
And Baltar, we love you. He's acting like a perfect political prisoner. He's like, it's just great to see he's all squirrely and weird. Every thought has to be written down.
Honestly, he's just so the epitome of, like, awkward British man. Like,
he's just turning into Hugh Grant.
He's Hugh Grant here.
He's got the weird, awkward, blubbering,
and stutters, and I mean, it's cute, I suppose, but just
it's another transformation of his character. His character has gone from, you know, the genius to the politician to the president to the savior figure, and now he's gone again to this political prisoner.
Yeah.
His character is on an amazing growth.
Again, he's also been through a lot.
And anyone who would call him a villain would say he's a great villain because he has this ability to transform, but I don't think he's a villain.
A lot of depth, but yeah.
But at least now he has a good representative because Romo Lampkin is our new character. But overall, this guy's a genius. Brilliant manipulation of Baltar, telling him to keep writing, here's some paper, and then taking his pen to make it seem like, oh, they're silencing the prison. That's just great. That's great. And he's brilliantly manipulated Six, emphasizing Baltar's feelings, even beyond what Baltar had to say, which was great. And it looks like Six is going to stay quiet now.
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
She seemed touched by that, and I think that's going to make the difference.
We'll see, I guess. We'll see.
And brilliant manipulation of Lee. And it's going to make Adama's job so much harder. So much harder. It's going to be great.
Do you believe his motivation behind wanting to do all this? Oh, just the sheer fame and the notoriety? I
don't know. You know what? Personally, in the last arc of Season 2, we had a very wise, clever character show up, a smart-ass kind of guy who had all kinds of clever things to say, and he wound up being Brother Cavil and a Cylon. Now, I don't want to go so far as to say Lampkin's a Cylon, but he's
At this point, we're assuming everyone's a Cylon.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, no, I don't think he's a Cylon either, personally.
But, you know, he's just showing up and being very shady. So it's really hard to say. He could be a Cylon, specifically protecting Baltar, because Baltar is a Cylon. The bonus scene. Okay, go.
Okay. Now, this was cathartic for me. Let's all think back on the scene in this episode where they're all standing around trying to decide who the bomber is, and Callie, in her oh so endearing way, goes on and on about, oh, the Cylons, and oh, this could have been the last time I kissed you and Nikki, and, you know, I can't come back, and, you know, this is, I can't come back again, and 2 times and 3 times, and whatever she said, and gosh, you know that she was just trying to say, you know, Athena, this is all your fault, and I think this is you behind everything, and she just didn't have the balls to say it to Athena's face, first of all, which added to my annoyance of her character. And really, this bonus scene was the only thing that made this entire episode cathartic for me. I loved the fact that Athena just gave it to her, and, you know, on top of it all, just kind of added a death threat, and, you know, it was freaking good.
I'm sorry, Stiff Jimmy. I couldn't stop her. On to Fan of the Week. Fan of the Week this week is a very special fan because it's Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
He's famous for films like Leap of Faith,
Three
Father
Amigos.
of the Bride.
Yeah.
You'll know a lot of his work. No, actually, Steve Martin we're talking about is from the UK. Not that Steve Martin. He's actually the guy that made our flashy new graphic. So, in the interest of being selfish, he's not really the BSG fan of the week. He's the BSGcast fan of the week. But either way, he put some work into this, and he deserves some credit and some recognition.
Yeah, this is pretty hardcore.
Steve, that's awesome. Thank you so much. You're the man.
Yeah.
So next week, we have basically part 1 of 2. This is when the trial will begin. I'm hoping we don't have just a repeat of the Adama Lee rift that happened at the beginning of Season 2 that was resolved in the home storyline. We've been there, that's old ground, so they had better be treading this differently, it better be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, it'll be interesting.
Oh yeah, well him representing Baltar is going to be a lot of fun. And
and him putting Rosalind up for cross-examination.
Yeah, like Rosalind's got to be kicking herself. But I'm wondering if it'll come out at all that Baltar had sex with Starbuck at one point. Do you think that'll come out at all? Because if it does, Lee will just shoot him. Like, right then and there, he will shoot Baltar. So I think that could be a lot of fun.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm personally excited. Again, this episode was all set up. So the next 2 episodes had better be Exodus Part 2 all over again, because that was so far the highlight.
Do you think we'll see the end of the trial by the end of the season?
I do. I think we'll see the end of the trial. Because I wasn't sure when we were watching the end of Season 2 whether we'd see the results of the election. I thought that might be the big cliffhanger. And then we got to see 365 days later.
Yeah.
So Ronald D. Moore likes to surprise you. So I'm hoping that in this case, we do get the trial over and done with, and the Cylons show up. Because I think the Cylons should consider Baltar important.
It could happen.
I think the Cylons will consider Baltar important. There's no way they can do the back half of this entire show and not have Cylons. They must show up in the last 2 episodes.
The pressure's on again, Ron.
It is. Ron, give it up. Come on. 2 more to go. We're excited.
Gosh. Okay,
see you guys next week.
Thanks for watching. Bye, Matt.
Bye, Nat.
Bye.